Hello everyone and welcome to a really awesome game from yesterday's Chess Super League. It's an event organized by Rehesamai and Chess Base India, and it will last until 17th of this month. And this game is, well, just incredible. I've received many messages. I basically just woke up and there were like 100 messages saying, please analyze this game. And of course, as always, for good reasons. Let's check it out and see what this game is about. So, Abhijeet Gupta, Indian Grandmaster versus Anish Giri. White opens with d4. Anish goes for knight to f6. We have c4, e6, knight to c3, and of course the Nimzo-Indian defense, bishop to b4. We have e3, going for the standard stuff. We always mention that e3 and queen to c2 are white's most popular replies. Still, we have castles, and now usually white will go bishop to d3 or knight f to e2. But here we have bishop to d2. It's a little less known, but in 2021 anything can be played. We have d5, striking in the center, of course a standard move in the Nimzo-Indian. Next we're gonna go b6, knight to f3 and b6. We have c captures on d5, e captures on d5, and now rook to c1. And here you could go for the fianchetto of the light square bishop, but Anish waits with that. He plays c5, and it's a principal decision, definitely, as the white king is still in the center of the board. We definitely wouldn't mind opening up the e file for our rook. So bishop to e2, white wants the castle to safety, and now Anish advances the pawn all the way to c4. And we always mention that this is perhaps a little bit anti-positional. But in 2021 there is no such thing as anti-positional. So so castles first by Gupta, and now a6. Preparing b5, we have knight to e5, an excellent square for this white knight, and now b5. We have a4. White, of course, wants to challenge black's pawn structure here. Later on, you should definitely challenge it further with b3, and the queen to b6, guarding the c6 square, preparing knight to c6 to get rid of this knight from e5. We have queen to c2, also continuing development, connecting rooks, and knight to c6. So now we're ready to eliminate this knight, and here white should definitely consider b3. We always have to advance our pawns to attack black's overly advanced pawn structure, especially in situations where well, sort of an anti-positional move like c4 is played. But here we don't have b3, we have bishop to f3, and this is now a bit of a problem. Okay, the d5 pawn is attacked twice, but Anish simply defends it, and this only helps him further develop. And now we do have b3, but now it's kind of a one move too late, because now by playing knight to e7 to guard the d5 pawn, we also have support for bishop to f5. And this is how Anish nicely develops the bishop. Bishop to f5 attacks the queen, queen to b2, and now rook a to b8, preparing to open up the b file. So a captures on b5, a captures on b5, and now white has to be very careful on how to continue here. Do you just continue maneuvering? Do you play b captures on c4? So a lot of options here, but in the game g4 was played. And it seems like a good idea, as the bishop will have to move. Then you're going to dislodge the knight, and the knight is defending the pawn, and then you're going to win the pawn. But it has one problem. So feel free to pause the video and try to find, well, dare I say it, the winning move for Anish here, while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting that it's not actually a free piece. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, of course, it's knight captures on g4. This is what Anish played, and now the point is, after knight captures and bishop captures, we can't really win this bishop, because if bishop captures, just queen g6. We pin the bishop, the king is on g1, and if you defend, it doesn't really matter. We're going to attack it with f5, and then we're going to win it, and then we just have a winning position. So instead, after bishop captures on g4, we have knight captures on d5. Now, okay, we've removed one of the defenders of the d5 square, and now what do you play here? Well, it's a tricky position. Of course, you could just capture the knight. For example, knight captures on d5, and if bishop captures on d5, we're just going to play queen to g6, and black is completely winning here. There is no doubt about this. But as Anish said in an interview after the game, he decided to play for the crowd, and he didn't go for the objectively best move, but he went for the actual best move, and that, of course, is bishop captures on f3. So he sacrifices his queen, but then the rook is coming to b6, and then the rook is coming to g6. So will white be able to survive this attack? White has nothing better. If you don't do this, then just queen g6 and it's game over. So here, knight captures on b6. The queen was captured. Rook captures on b6, and now rook f to d1. You have to make some room for your king if you are to survive this attack, because rook to g6 would have been checkmate. So rook to g6 check. Still, we have king to f1, and now bishop back to d6, with the idea of just capturing on h2, and then we will have support for rook to g1 checkmate. So bishop to a5, we have to clear some space for our king to try and escape, and now knight to d5. You don't have to rush bishop captures on h2, because we now can move king to e1, and there is no checkmate. So after bishop to a5, we have knight to d5, and now comes b captures on c4, b captures on c4, and again, you can't capture on c4. If you capture on c4, then just check, and we're going to capture the rook. For example, bishop captures on h2, we're threatening checkmate, and now after the king moves, rook g1 check, king moves, and then we pick up the rook for free with check, and then black is completely busted. So after b captures on c4, we have king to e1, now getting ready to get the king up the board. Now comes rook to b8, activating the rook while attacking the white queen, queen to c2, and now comes the most beautiful move of the game, I think even nicer than the queen sacrifice, and that, of course, is pawn to c3. That's, such an impressive move. It takes away the d2 square from the white king, and now rook to g1 is the threat of checkmate, and there is no good way to parry this. The only thing left to do is to capture this pawn and free up the d2 square for our king. So this is exactly what Gupta played. He played bishop captures on c3, but now knight captures on c3. And of course, the b4 square is ready for this bishop. You don't have any other moves you have to capture, otherwise you're just dead lost. So queen captures on c3 was played, bishop to b4, now we win back our queen, queen captures, and now, of course, not rook captures on b4 and allow rook to c8 checkmate. Again, I know some of you were thinking about this, but instead rook to g1 check, and now after king to d2, we pick up the rook on d1 with check, and of course we force the white rook to move away from the c file, and only after rook captures on d1, now we pick up the queen, now we are up a full bishop, and of course black is completely winning. So white tried one last attempt, maybe Anish blunders a checkmate, as his back rank is weak, maybe he made a pre-move or something, you never know. It's a rapid game, we should try everything, but Anish just played rook to b2 check, king to d3, and now f5 freed up the f7 square for his king, and he was in this position on move 34 that Abhijeet Gupta resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. So this is a great example of how Anish, of course, knows both of the moves are winning, just capturing the... sorry, not here, but after knight captures on d5. He knows that just bishop captures on f3 is winning the move that was played in the game, but also just capturing on d5 that we mentioned, captures, and queen to g6 is also winning. So here, deciding to play for the crowd definitely is the way to go. Of course, it's an online rapid game, so there's... it's not like it's dead serious, but of course it is serious, and the deciding to go for this, it's incredible, and this is well, just sorry sorry, I'm at a loss for words, but this is how everyone should play chess, if at all possible, and playing for the crowd is definitely the way to go. But yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank, or rather, I wish a happy birthday to Ayad Habib. Hope you had a good one, and that you will spend it with many friends at the bar and the library, and have many great games. And I would like to thank Micah Kennedy, Tom Kerr, Tom Derolo, and Francis Eyre for contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of all the active events currently happening in the world, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, such as this one and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.